Hello and welcome to day 10 of our 90 days data analytics challenge. It's been a long ride. I know how hard consistency is, but we are progressing. To be honest with you, it's really not easy for me as the tutor staying consistent, showing up every day to meet up with the 90 days data analytics challenge. And if I can do it, if I can meet up, show up every day, despite the fact that I have my regular job, I have other things I do, I take gigs, I still come up here to show up every day. That means you should too, right? So today we are basically exploring different data sources. We talked about data sources earlier where we discussed primary and secondary source. So we are going to elaborate more on it. I'm going to explain to you how to gather primary source of data, how to create Google Forms. I'm going to talk about the secondary sources of data. We are going to explore one of the platforms together and you see how the platform works. So let's get straight into the video. First, let's talk about why data sources matter. Every analysis starts with data. We cannot perform any analysis without data, but where does our data come from? Knowing how and where data is collected will help us choose the right data or making use of outdated data. Like we discussed earlier, we said there are two major sources of data, which is primary source and secondary source. I'm sure you remember when we talked about primary source being a data set you collected yourself, and secondary source is the data set somebody else gathered or collected that you are getting for your own analysis. Now let's talk in details about the primary data sources. These are original data that you collect firsthand. Primary source of data can be collected through surveys by you sending out surveys to people to fill for you. Maybe you are working on a research and you need data to carry out the analysis. You can send out surveys using Google Form by creating a Google Form and send the link to people to fill for you. I'm sure at one point or the other, you filled a form for somebody online before. I'm going to show you how to create a Google Form shortly. Okay, so first go to your browser and you search Google Forms. Click on the first option right here. It's going to open the Forms tab and then you're going to click on Blank Forms. You can explore these other ones, but I'm just going straight to the point. So this is the part where you write the title for your Google Form. Say I want to write project. You can write description for whatever you type here if you want. If you don't want, we can proceed to the next step. So on this other tab, you can see the part where we have untitled question and option 1. So this untitled question tab is where you're going to put in the question you want to ask your the people that are going to fill the form. So let's click on it. And then let's say I want to ask a question. Let's say you can see that it is currently on multiple choice. Multiple choice is like you picking options. Like for example, you can see option A, so we can check it. Option B, we can check it. But once I type in my question, the forms will automatically detect the best answer for the question. Let's see how that works. So let's say I want to ask for their name, for the respondent's name. I can do what is your name? What is your name? Add a question mark. You can see that it automatically changes itself to short answer text. And if you feel like you don't want it to be short answer text, you can come right here to change it. You can see you can change it to multiple choice, add option 1, add other option, then you can type. So for this option 1, you can change it. Let's say I want them to pick from series of name, Tosin. I'll add option and type the other person's name here. Option 2, I may type Tolu. You understand? So this, when it asks them what their name is, they can pick from any of these options. And if it's others, they'll be allowed to type in what the other name is. So we can change it if you want it to be a checkbox. So they can just check the box or something like that. So this is the part drop down. If you want it as a drop down list, it can also appear as that. So we are just going to leave it at short answer. So this is the first question that you have imputed here. If you want to make it a required field, such that if they don't fill that question, if there's no answer for that question, they will not be able to submit, then this is the part you just turn on this required button. Okay, let me turn it off now. So let's say we want to add more questions. It's not just their name we want to know. We can click on this plus sign to add more question. Let's say we want to know how old they are. This is just a sample that I'm trying to show you. So we can create categories for the age. Let's say this survey is for some 18 and above. So we can say from 18 to 25, they should tick this box. Then from 26 to 35 should tick this box, and on like that. And if this person is beyond the age range we specify, they can choose the other button and put in their age right there. So if you want to keep adding questions, this is the plus sign you use. Add more questions, pick the format you want their answer to be in, and that is how you just keep adding till you are done. If you want to make it bold, you want to add italics to it, all of these things, you want to underline it. So this is the part where you do that as well. So once you are done creating the Google form, you can publish it. So the responders, you can change it to anyone with the link. So whenever you send the link out, anybody with the link will be able to respond to this form. So let's publish it. Now that it's published, we can go ahead to like copy the link right here. Copy respondent link. Can you see it here? You can shorten the URL so it becomes smaller. You can copy it and then send to whoever you want to send it to. So now we are acting as the responder, right? So what is your name? Let me fill in my name. How old are you? What's my age range right here? And I'm just gonna submit. So once I submit, let's go back to the part where, can you see now that we have one response? It's showing us that somebody already responded. So I can click on these responses and you can have a brief of what the person's name is, how old the person is, any question you put in, you can see it here. And you can also link this Google form to Google Sheets such that any details that people are putting it here, it automatically goes to a Google Sheet where you can now start analyzing the data. Google Sheets is like a spreadsheet that we use when we're working on some example. Let me click Google Sheets so you understand, so you remember it. So we can just click here, link to sheets. Let's create a new sheet, create. Can you see now it's showing us the timestamp, the person's name, how old the person is. This question, we didn't add anything to it. That's why it's just showing this empty. And you can decide to delete it if you want. So if another person responds, it's going to come to the next row. If another person responds, it's going to come to the next row. So we can perform analysis right from the form that we collected. So that's how you can get data through surveys using Google Form. We can get data through personal interview as well. I could jump on a call with people, send them a DM and start asking them questions using the personal interview style. We can do that through experiments, through focus groups, through observations. I explained observation at the beginning of this class. So you control the quality, format, and purpose of the data because you were the one that created the questions, the response you want from the user. You get to control the quality, the format, the purpose of the data. Why do we use primary data? It is tailored to your exact project needs. You can see when I was drafting out the question, it is based on what I need for my project, right? So that is why we use primary data sometimes, and it is more accurate and relevant because you got it yourself and it is fresh and current. Imagine the data I just got now is gonna be a very recent one compared to the one that somebody has gotten like 3 years ago. That is not recent, right? And we just created the Google form for online surveys. Now let's explore the secondary data sources. This is the data that already exists. We've talked about this, collected by someone else. It could be government database, it could be companies report, it could be online data sets like Kaggle, Google Dataset Search, academic articles, social media data. I want to show you quickly how to use one of these secondary data source, which is Kaggle. So go to your browser and just search kaggle.com right here. You're gonna see this tab. So this Kaggle is like a data set. You can get data sets, you can read up people's notebooks on projects that they've worked on. People train models, but that's for like machine learning, that's advanced data analytics, right? You don't need that as a beginner, except when you're done with the class, you want to expand your knowledge. So you can search for data set topics into health. And you can just click here to show you just the data set. You're not interested in notebook or comments or topics. You just want to get a data set on health to work with. You can see we have mental health data, fetal health, students' mental health, diabetes health, different data sets on health, right? So we can search for another topic. If you have another topic that you want to work on, you can search for it right here. Let's say superstore, something on superstore. All right, you can see superstore sales data. You can see sales profits, blah blah blah. Let's click on data set. All right, so let's click on this one, superstore data set. Metadata is talking about each of the row you meet inside the data. The row ID, which will show you the unique ID for each row, order ID, blah blah blah. So you get details on the data set, and it will show you a preview of what the data looks like down here that you can explore to see if it's really something you want to work with. And you can just click download here to download the data. All right, so why do we use secondary data? We use secondary data because it is faster and cheaper to access. It is great for trend analysis or industry insights. It can complement your primary data. We can use secondary data to look at the broader scope, and then use primary data to look at it in depth, right? So you want to evaluate the source credibility and the data freshness. You want to make sure that whatever source you're getting your data from is reliable. You don't just pick up any random data, because anybody can create data, right? All right, so the common tools for collecting data, we have Google Forms. I've showed you is a primary source. We use this basically for primary source of data. We have APIs. APIs is like advanced, like more of like data scientists use it, but you can expand your knowledge on it in the future. So you can use API, company APIs to get data sets. You can also do web scraping. Web scraping, I'm going to teach you how to do it in Excel. You can also do it in Python, which is a secondary data source. SQL databases that your company, that you'll be working in for your company and all of that. You can get your company sales data, and all from that is also a secondary source of data. All right, so if you're doing a customer research, if you send out a survey, that's a primary source. If you use Yelp reviews for competitor, then that's a secondary source. You are getting somebody else review. All right. So quickly, let's recap on everything we've said so far. Data sources are either primary, you collect it, or secondary, others collected it. And each has its own pros and cons. You have to choose on the project you're working on, what is the project need. And you can combine both as well when possible for richer insights. So in conclusion, our task for today is for you to create a Google form and explore the secondary data sources that I showed you in this class. Then you comment done when you're done with that. Make sure you like this video. It took me a lot of time creating this tutorial series, and to get low likes and a lot of views is not encouraging. So make sure that every of these series you watch, you like and drop a comment when you're done watching. So let's prepare for day 11 of this class, where we're going to go to Excel. We are done with explanation, explanation, explanation. Now is the time for practical, and I know you will love it. Remember to join the paid community where you can get certification that you joined the 90 days data analytics training. You get mentorship, live classes, you get to ask your questions, no confusion at all. You can check the link in the description to join the paid community, and it is very, very, very affordable. Trust me. I'll see you guys tomorrow, and bye for now.